It's Monday, June 6th, 17th, Tuesday, June 18th. If you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under, and this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, currently under construction, but it is up and running. You can catch all our SOR news wire right there. Tonight's show is brought to you by the Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit mightymoosebeard.com. Use promo code SOR2019 today. Now, I apologize. For some reason, we got this little snafu in our computer that's deciding to garble up the audio right off the bat. And then we got to reboot the entire system to clean it up, even though it's already been rebooted about an hour and a half previous, which is blowing my mind right now, but we're going to be working on that. We're going to get right to it tonight, as Grant Cameron, UFO author and researcher, has been silent since it came out about a special UFO leak describing events between Admiral Wilson and scientist Eric Davis. Are we getting closer to disclosure? Now, we do have to say the popular Canadian author is here under protest. He does not want to be doing this interview or any interviews in regards to this subject. We're going to find out why right now. Grant Cameron, thank you so much for being with us.
How you doing, Dave?
Well,
Thank you
I'm
for
doing
having me, and thanks for the interest in what I'm doing.
Well, my friend, you and I go back a few years here now, and you know you always have a safe place on this show. Yep. I got to ask, why are you doing this interview under protest?
Basically, the story started to unravel, and I have to give great credit to Richard Dolan, who picked it up. I couldn't pick it up. Richard Dolan picked it up and started to run with it. And as I described, all the crazies came out of the woodwork, and it started all sorts of stuff about conspiracy theories. And, Richard was people sort of hinting that Richard may be behind this. And I figured I better at least come out of the shadows for a little bit to try to get people going in the right direction and give some support to Richard Dolan, who has actually put his career on the line to do this story. So I'm here to basically support Richard and get people on the track as to what has actually happened here.
I understand you and Richard have a very, very close relationship, but why did you back out of this story? This was yours. I remember you back in January telling me before we even went to air, Dave, I may have the smoking gun here. I may have the actual document that leads to almost an immediate disclosure. And I remember you kind of snickering, saying it's either going to be the real deal or this is a big fake and I'm going to have a lot of egg on my face. And when it comes down to it, Grant, you pull out of this story. Why is that?
Okay, I'll spell out what actually happened. It all goes back to November of 2018. I'm at the Starworks USA conference, which is run by Paula Harris in Laughlin, Nevada. It's Monday morning. We're leaving the conference. It's been a very paranormal weekend. We had I'm into this port phenomena. There's just a tremendous story happened there. Very paranormal story involving about a dozen people, feathers, really bizarre story. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm heading for Tucson, Arizona. My friends Trish and Justin have allowed my assistant Destin and I to take care of their house in Tucson, Arizona at the bottom of a mountain. It's a beautiful, beautiful house. They're going on a cruise, and so they leave the conference early. They say, we're going to cook dinner. When you get there, we're going to have dinner ready. So we make the arrangement. We're going to leave the hotel, the Aquarius Hotel, at 11 o'clock in the morning. And a guy by the name of James Rigney, who's now come forward, gets a vision in the middle of the night. And I'm big into these vision things because I've had my sort of enlightenment experiences. Middle of the night, he wakes up. and he's got this idea in his head that he has a document that he needs to show to Grant Cameron. So he contacts his wife. He lives in Australia. He contacts his wife, and he says to her, I need you to scan the document, and I need you to send it to me right now. So he contacts my assistant, Desta Barnaby, and I've left the hotel room at 10 o'clock. I am taking my luggage. I'm in the Arizona Tower. I'm heading over to the California Tower where the big parking lot is. And I'm coming through the casino, and there is no Wi-Fi. This is the key. There's no Wi-Fi on the main floor of the casino. I'm saying goodbye to Jan Hartson and my friend from California, Mark, and there's all these people, and I keep running into people, and I can't even get through the casino. And so, meanwhile, it's like 11 o'clock. And we're supposed to leave at 11 o'clock, and we have to leave at 11 o'clock because I don't want to pull into Tucson at midnight when these people have dinner ready. So the deal is we're leaving the hotel at 11 o'clock in the morning. So I get back, drop off my luggage. I get back to the front door of the Aquarius Hotel, and there's a bunch of people there, and Paula Harris comes down with a feather shirt. I won't get into that. She's got this feather top on, and this plays into this support thing, and I'm going, Paula, you got a feather shirt on. People couldn't believe this. All this weird stuff was happening. So I'm sitting there, and we're ready to go, and my assistant Desta comes up, and she's kind of upset. She says, I was trying to get a hold of you. We had a meeting set up with James in the restaurant at 11 o'clock, and where were you? And I said, well, I was on the main floor of the casino, and there's no internet coverage, and you know, if you're Canadian, you turn your phone off in the United States. So my phone was turned off, and I wasn't picking up any internet, so they couldn't get a hold of me. So anyway, so we're sitting there, and we're getting ready to leave, and James comes up, and he says to me, I need to talk to you for a minute. I says, well, James, I actually don't have time to talk. We have to be in Tucson. We're leaving. Desta and I are leaving right away, and I got to go. And so he says to me, I need 10 minutes of your time. So I said, okay, whatever. So he pulls out this little iPad, and he gives me this iPad, and it's got a document on it. And it is this document that people are now discussing, this Eric Davis notes on the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Wilson conversation. And I look at this, and I read the first couple of paragraphs, and the first thing I notice is a name on the document, and that is Oak Shannon. Now, most people in the UFO community until the last couple of days don't know who Oak Shannon was. I knew who Oak Shannon was because I've been in contact with the Avery for a number of years. I've interacted with these guys a little bit here, a little bit there. And about 15 years ago, Eric Davis gave me a document from the Advanced Physics Theoretical Working Group. This is the group that John Alexander had run. I'm the one that broke the name. Before then, it was called the UFO Working Group. John Alexander called it the Advanced Physics Theoretical Working Group, so nobody could get it through an FOIA. And I was given Oak Shannon's notes from the meeting. So I knew who Oak Shannon was. I really didn't know, what his connection was. I just knew that he had some connection to UFOs. He was one of these special access people that John Alexander had brought in. And I knew he knew Eric Davis. So when I start to read this document, I see Oak Shannon's name on there, and I suddenly realize this is the real. There's something very significant about this document. And I read it, and as I was reading along, I was just absolutely shocked. And he was sitting there, and he in his statement, he's actually mentioned this. I said to him, I just looked over and I said, "Where the hell did you get this?" And then he started to tell me the story of where he got it. And I'll leave that for a minute. But anyway, so he tells me where it's got, and I'm reading this document. And then I said, "Can you give me a copy of this?" And he was kind of sensitive because he knew this was a sensitive document. And he said, "Well, I'm kind of afraid to send it in the email and all this kind of stuff." And then he left. And I remember he left to go do something or whatever. And I had this iPad. And I'm thinking, well, should I get my camera out? Should I try to photograph this thing? Because I didn't know I was going to get it. And the thing that'll surprise a lot of people is I've never really read the document. I only read basically what I read in the front of the Aquarius Hotel. I read about the first page, glanced over part of the second page, and I realized, and he came back and I said, "James, this is the most significant thing I have ever seen in my life." And at that point, he still hadn't agreed to give me the document, but he said, "Well, we'll see about how to get you the document or stuff like that." And when he told me where it was, he had said it came from Edgar Mitchell's collection. That Edgar Mitchell had died, and there's this story that we're still going to protect, that there's a couple of people involved, and Edgar Mitchell had died, and his kids were not interested in UFOs, not at all. And the big fight had started, this kind of a dysfunctional family. They're all fighting about who's going to sell this Apollo item and that Apollo item, all the money stuff. And nobody was interested in the UFO files. And they were about to destroy the UFO files. And somebody rescued them. So that's how this thing came out. So James shows me the document. I read the first page and a half, and I think this is like a 3-page document. And he's basically coming to me to say, I need you, because I said, well, why don't you just release it? And he said, no, I really don't want to be involved. And, I've got this and whatever. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he really didn't want to drop the document. And I said, give it to me. I'll get this out. So anyway, it went about a month, I guess. And then I contacted him back, and he hadn't really talked about the document. I contacted him back, and I said, okay, James, I'm going to release Beyond Managing Magic. I had released Managing Magic, and this is actually the would be the 4th book that I've written on disclosure. And I hate the disclosure topic. I've been in it. I wrote my first book in 1991 about this Avery group and this inside, the slow disclosure leaks and all this kind of stuff, and the altering of documents and stuff like that. So I was going to put out Beyond Managing Magic, and I said to him, I'll just put it in the book. I'll just put the document in the book with no writing about it, not what it's about, anything. I'll just put it in there, and sooner or later someone will notice this document is in the book, and all hell will break loose. So then I connected, and when he sent me the document, then that's when I started not sleeping, and I went for a period of about 3 months where I really didn't sleep. I really didn't sleep very well at all. I was just suddenly realized what I had. And basically you have to see what this thing is. And I always say to people, point out to people, you got to realize what this is like. I had my first UFO sighting in 1975, and I documented all the stuff that happened in Carmen, Manitoba, and the publisher wouldn't publish my book. And she said, Mr. Cameron, you may believe in this kind of stuff. Count me among the unbelievers. And at that point, I was just frustrated, and I said, I'm not interested in UFO sightings anymore. All I'm interested in is somebody has to know what the heck is going on. So when I sat in the Aquarius Hotel on that Monday morning in the beginning of November, and he handed me this document, I suddenly realized this is what I've waited since 1975 to see. I basically said, it's over. This is what I've been looking for. And so when he sent me the document, I didn't realize it was 15 pages long. And that's why I didn't read it. I suddenly realized what I had my hands on. So I had read the first couple of pages, and I read a bit of the Wilson or the Will Miller letter that's in there, because I had followed the whole story, the Wilson story. I had worked on it when it was breaking, when Richard Dolan and Billy Cox were chasing them. I was also on this story. So I knew the story. And when I saw it was 15 pages long, I started to panic a little bit. And that's when I decided I needed some legal advice. I needed to go to people to find out what am I going to do with this thing. I had what I'd always been waited for, but I didn't know what to do because I knew all these guys. And it was sort of like, you're either going to go and sort of out all these guys or cut their throats, or you're going to pretend you didn't see it. And so I always say to people, if you had the document, what would you do? Would you pretend you didn't see it? Would you destroy it? And so I had this document. I really didn't know what to do with it. That's when I contacted Michael Hall. And I said, Michael, I got a problem here. I contacted him beginning of January. And I said, I got this document, and I showed him the document. And I think it was at that point or just before, that's when James sent me the second document. And the second document is the 10 or 11-page alien autopsy document, which involves Kit Green, the discussions going on inside NIDS, this memo that's written to Bob Bigelow about the alien autopsy being real, and Kit Green's comments and stuff like that. Then I really started to panic, and I was going like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? I mean, I've got these two documents. And so I talked to Michael, and Michael said to me, do you know the document is for real? Do you 100% for a fact know this document's for real? And then I said, no, I don't. I'm like 99% sure. There's all the things in the document, plus this Oak Shannon name indicated that, yeah, this is a real document, but I wasn't 100% sure. So then what he said was, well, things could happen. They could make a move or whatever, and I'll defend you. I'll protect you and all this sort of stuff, either in Canada or the United States. And so what I said was, I went to Desta Barnaby, my assistant, and at that point, we're still going to do the book. I was still going to drop it. And I gave Desta the documents, and I said, we got a black felt marker. And she said, yeah. And I said, okay, we got to sanitize these documents. I need you to take every name out of these documents. And that's the way I figured I was going to handle it. I would take the documents, I would drop the documents without the names in them. And then it was the plausible deniability. Because I've learned over the number of years, I've watched how the government does it, and it's all this plausible deniability thing.
Grant, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. Okay. We're going to go to a quick break here. Grant, I hope you'll stick around. We got a lot of questions to ask you. We got Ryan Stacey following Grant Cameron. Big show tonight. We're not even going to the news tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We got too much to talk about. We'll be back with more SOR right after this. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you will be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight we got Grant Cameron on the phone, his first live interview since the UFO leak. Ryan Stacey is coming up at the top of the hour. We only have Grant until about 10 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m., or make that 1 a.m. Eastern time. So we're going to get right to it. Grant, thank you so much for being here. There's a lot of rumors going around that when you went silent, Grant, that you were being shut up, that you were being silenced by people. Were you threatened in any way for holding on to or threatening to leak these documents?
No, I've never been threatened. I always say that. I've never been threatened, and I've never had a whistleblower come to me with classified material. Never, ever. I did hear a couple months ago that Ron Pandolfi had heard that I had documents. He was asking a friend of mine, do you know what Grant's got? And then I realized the walls were closing in on me. So I did have that, but there was no direct threats, no.
Now, when you have these type of documents in your hand, and you released today a second set of documents with Robert Bigelow sending a letter to Edgar Mitchell. What's the significance of this part two?
Well, I should point out the first documents I didn't drop, although they wouldn't have dropped without me. What I had done is I had mentioned I had DESA with the black felt marker, and she took all the names out, and we were going to put it in the document in the book. And at that point, I still couldn't sleep. I mean, I was just couldn't figure out. It was all sort of going downhill. Then my book lost its formatting, it lost its editing, or it's lost all the footnotes. And it was sort of like, it was a bad sign. So I sort of pulled the book, and then it started to sort of spiral out of control where I couldn't control the story anymore, where I wasn't going to release the book. It was going to be a long time till I released the book. And yet Michael was talking about me on air, and a bunch of people were talking. And I realized, like, wow, man, I got to get out of this. So that's why I said, okay, I'm pulling out of this. I'm not going to drop the documents. I went back to James. I said, James, I'm not dropping the documents. This is your problem. You've got these documents. You've got anonymity. We showed him how to send the documents to people to protect his anonymity. And he never really did figure out what I was talking about in terms of the fact that he should send it to people who weren't compromised, people who didn't know the players. He was suggesting to send it to Richard Dolan. I said, well, you can't send it to Richard. He's in the same position as me. He knows these people. It's not like you're going to go and turn your friends in. So that's where it sort of got kind of ugly. And that's when I said, okay, I'm pulling the book and I'm going to pull out of this thing. But I was still talking to a lot of people, and I was still into open. Like if Michael Hall had gone open with the documents, I wouldn't have had any objection. It was sort of like, I'm not here to cover up the documents. I'm not telling anybody to withhold the documents. And then I made a point that everybody I talked to, and I talked to a lot of people, I tried to get a hold of Danny Sheehan. I tried to get a lot of advice from people because I couldn't sleep. I didn't know what to do. And I talked to a number of people, and then I talked to one particular group of people. And that's when I told him this position where I couldn't drop these documents and stuff. And basically, I was sort of told, we'll take it from here. And then it happened in April. Everybody's talking about the document this week. The document actually dropped in the beginning of April onto Reddit.
Onto Reddit.
And, yeah. And nothing happened. So I got a phone call the first night from one of the young guns. And they said, and I had talked to James. And I had talked to James before, and he said this document is dropped on the internet. And I said, well, how many pages is the document? He said, oh, it's Danny Silva's got it. It's got 15 pages. I said, oh, yeah, it sounds familiar. And so I knew the document had been dropped. And I said, well, I started talking to him about it. And then it sort of died out, and nothing happened. And nothing happened until Richard picked up the thing. In fact, the second document I put out when Lou Elizondo came forward and said he started to leak. And this is the whole deal. Are they really upset about this leak? I don't think so, because Lou Elizondo had gone out and said, oh, we've got crash saucer material. And then Eric Davis had come out right after that and said, I just want to let you know 1,000% for sure that what Lou Elizondo is saying is true. And so I sent it around to all the people I talked to about the document, and it was that night that the second document got dropped, the alien autopsy document, which is a document that nobody's really talking about. This is a document which involves a memo sent to Bob Bigelow, and what was happening is NIDS was having a bunch of different, they would take up a bunch of different topics. For example, I was involved in one where they were asking me questions about the Holloman Air Force Base story, because I'd worked on it extensively, and they were asking me, what do you know about it? And they were feeling around to different people. They're and you could see they're trying to do a report. NIDS had decided, let's see what's any truth to this. And so I guess what they'd done is the alien autopsy, they had picked it up, and they had all these people on the board, like Kit Green, Hal Puthoff, Mitchell, Jacques Vallée would be there from time to time, George Knapp, all these people, and they would sort of try to go over different subjects. And so I guess alien autopsy had come up in 2001, 2002, and they had sort of put this research together and put it in this 11-page or 10-page document, whatever. So that document was James had sent to me, and that one's I believe the same person dropped the second document as well. So then when Richard picked it up, then it sort of went viral. Then Richard, and I'd already known before then, because I got a phone call from James Rigney early this year, and he said, did you give the document to Richard Dolan? And I go, no, I didn't give it to Richard Dolan. And he said, well, he's on Jimmy Church talking about the document. I said, he is? And I'm going like, what the hell happened? I didn't give the document to anybody. So I went on, and actually here's Richard on Church in December of last year talking about the document. And it's like, he's seen the document. They showed him the document. And then I'm thinking, well, then I started to feel better. It's like, well, they're floating this document. They're showing it to people. And now Richard's even come forward in his last write-up and said there was another person that came to him and said that he'd been shown the document. So this is a document, this Wilson document is a document that they floated around. They've shown it to different researchers. And Richard had seen 2 pages of the 15-page document. And he won't say who he got it, who showed it to him, but he had seen the document. And that's why he was so interested and started to, go to, Kit Green, Hal Puthoff, and ask all these questions about this document. So when the documents were dropped, then Richard picked it up. And then you started to get all these conspiracy theories starting about, this thing's hoaxed. And I was just waiting for them to come up with Hillary Clinton. I mean, it was like, well, Hillary Clinton did this, or Richard Doty did this. I mean, it was just getting crazy. People were starting to make up all this stuff. And you could tell it was just people who had no idea what they're talking about. And Richard had come to me a number of times and said, I need to talk to you. When the document was first sent to him, I believe the people who dropped it on the internet also sent it to him. And so when he got the document, then he contacted me, and I said to him, no, Richard, not talking, not doing any interviews, not doing any lectures. I said, you are where I was last year. Good luck. Have a good time. And I just cut off Richard. So I wouldn't talk to Richard. And then I heard that Richard, I saw this controversy on the internet. And as I said, it was like the crazies were going to try to throw Richard off the cliff. And I thought, Richard, what do you need to know? And then he basically described that he had gotten a non-comment from Hal Puthoff, which basically confirms this thing's for real. And that made me feel a lot better that Richard was actually doing the legwork. He was actually confronting these people and actually was confirming that, this is a live document. And so I said to Richard, okay, I will post. I went to James. I said, James, take the document. He sent me this third document, the one you're referring to, the memo to Bigelow. And all that memo it's Bob Bigelow talking to Mitchell, and he's talking about the metals. He's talking about the consciousness studies. He's talking about the meetings that are coming up. He's talking about just 3 pages of what NIDS is up to and stuff. And I hope you can make the meeting at the end of the month and make your arrangements for your travel and all this kind of stuff. And all that document, I gave it to James. I said, give it to Richard, because Richard was going to do a live thing. He did it last Saturday with James. He was going to break this second part of the story. The guy who actually had the documents is now out. And I said, give him the document and release the document. But it didn't sound like Richard was going to do it. So that's when I decided, okay, as Richard said to me, you got no friends anymore anyway, so you might as well just, got nothing to lose. So I said, okay, so this document I'm going to drop. And I said, I'm going to put this document out. And that's when I posted on the weekend. And I said, I am going to release a document that will put people in the right direction. Will tell you what's going on and where these documents came from. And basically, the reason this memo was what I put out this morning was to tell people that these documents, as far as I know, came out of the Edgar Mitchell collection. And there are many more documents that may be coming behind the documents that are all out as well. So it's just and that's why the document was sent to me. It wasn't like an exclusive document that revealed anything. It was just to prove to me that Edgar Mitchell, that they had Edgar Mitchell's files. And there was another document which we probably won't release, and that's a letter from Edgar Mitchell to Lindbergh, Charles Lindbergh's widow. When Charles Lindbergh dies, Edgar Mitchell writes a letter to his widow. So there's these kind of documents that they were sending me just to say, yeah, we've got these files. These are coming from Edgar Mitchell's files. That's why we leaked the document this morning, to get people on the track that this was legitimate. These are not stolen documents. These are documents that the family was ready to destroy, and somebody was smart enough to say, I'll take the documents. And I've found this in a number of cases. This is about the 5th collection that I have found very significant stuff. When somebody dies, a researcher, I immediately go. I'm going to see Stanton's documents September 23rd. I'm going across the country to New Brunswick to see them. They've given me approval to go through boxes to look for stuff. I have about 10 or 12 subjects that I guarantee you I'll find some really dramatic stuff in Stanton Friedman's documents, and I will release that as well. So that's the problem, is that the UFO people make deals. You make deals with people. I'm not going to talk about this. I'm secret to that. It's your friends telling you stories, and everybody goes through through their whole UFO career gathering all these stories, like collecting stamps, and they never release it. And then when they die, this is what happens. If you can get the material out. So that's why I made the deal with Michael Hall. He has the disclosure trust. So I have given him all my highly sensitive material, and the day after I die, all the material will be released onto the internet.
Grant, with the Edgar Mitchell files that you have, are you planning on releasing? Okay, that are out there. Then, is there any smoking gun out there that confirms the entire UFO aspect that the government is secretly working on bringing this to disclosure?
Well, not the disclosure part, but I mean, if you take a look at the Wilson thing, it basically confirms. That's one of the things that really got me upset when I saw it. And I said, okay, I'm going to move this thing, was because it says, yeah, MJ-12 is for real. And I remember I've been promoting MJ-12 since 1991, and I've said MJ-12 is for real. It's the real deal, because in 1987, I think it was 87, there was an interview done with it was 83. It was done with Steinman and Dr. Eric Walker, who we chased around for a number of years. And that point, we asked Walker about the MJ-12 document. He says, I've known of them for 40 years. No, it was 87 because it was 40 years. I have known of them for 40 years. Leave it alone. There's nothing you can do. You're up against the windmills. So I knew right from the word go that MJ-12 was for real. So when I saw in this document that MJ-12 was for real, I was just furious. It was like, these documents are 20 years old. They are never going to tell anybody anything. These things would never be released. And I was just furious that we had been sort of dragged over the coals about MJ-12, and these guys didn't come to our defense and say this is for real or help us or whatever. So the first document basically says, yeah, Roswell's real, MJ-12's real. This is this interview with Wilson. And the second document basically says we have a body. And that is why when we were going to originally release Beyond Managing Magic, on the back cover I was going to say, do you wonder why Bob Bigelow was able to go on 60 Minutes and say absolutely for sure he knows for a fact there are ETs here. And Richard talks about the same thing in this church interview where he's asked, asks one of these Avery people, do we have any bodies? And the answer was, yes, we have at least one that I know of. And Richard said, well, how do you know that for sure? And they said, because the source is impeccable. Well, that's the second document. It says that the alien autopsy thing is for real. And Kit Green, 3 times in that document, says he tells about 3 different briefings that he was given. And he describes the body, he describes almost everything about the body. And nobody wants to believe him. And he says, how many times do I have to tell you? It's for real. And Kit Green is the impeccable source. Kit Green is a very high-level, respectable guy, and Dolan has gone to him. And now what he has said, I guess he's no choice, but what he responded to Richard Dolan was that the government lied to me. He's not denying the document isn't real. He's just saying the government lied to me. The alien autopsy is still a fake. They lied to me. They didn't tell me the truth. So, but he was sort of caught off guard. Richard, the day after the document leaked, Richard had known him. He talked to him before, immediately contacted him. So we have these 2 documents. We have the one that says MJ-12 is for real, Roswell's for real, and the other one says that we have at least one alien body.
Eric Davis has been very, very silent on this since this first leak came out. I know we've tried reaching out to him. I know a number of other people have tried reaching out to him. Has anybody that you know talked to Eric Davis about this coming out, and has he confirmed to you or other sources that this is real?
Well, Richard Dolan has an official statement from Hal Puthoff, which I think he made public on the weekend, and that was he uses the word we, have no comment, and talks about security clearances because we hold security clearances and that sort of thing. But the no comment is basically a confirmation. I mean, if it wasn't real, they would say this document is not real, that none of this happened. And it's basically I guess, defining that he and Eric Davis have no comment. They're not going to comment on what's in it because of classified material. And the key to that whole thing is, and that may be thrown in my direction and everybody else's direction, about the fact that, this is classified material, this is, we're a threat to national security. And you got to keep in mind, number one, this is a hooker move. I mean, this stuff was given to Bob Bigelow. This is not stuff that they were reporting. This stuff was going to NIDS. And Bigelow had paid people as advisors to come in and give stuff. So this was sold. And Bob Bigelow in 2001 or whenever these documents were, did not have a security clearance. He did not have a need to know. And as I said, the alien autopsy document was dropped the same night that I made public to all these people that I had been talking to, the fact that Eric Davis had said, yeah, Lou Elizondo is 1,000% true about the fact that we've got crash saucers. Eric Davis has in the past said that we have crash saucer material and that is not kept at Area 51. Hal Puthoff went on Coast to Coast and said there is a crash saucer document that is legitimate. So, I mean, if there's anything that's classified, it's got to be classified that we have crash saucer material. So to say now that this is classified and we can't really talk about it doesn't make any sense, because it shouldn't have been talked about Bob Bigelow, and people shouldn't have been talking about this stuff on Fox News and on Coast to Coast. And they shouldn't have been leaking this stuff to other researchers. I think Richard Dolan said he saw this document, 2 pages of the 15-page document, in 2006. So they were floating the document. They can talk all they want about national security and classified material now. That wasn't going on in the past.
So if the document had been shown in 2006, why is it so relevant? So many people calling this the UFO document of the century.
Well, I think Richard is one that coined the term, but Richard, because it confirmed what he had seen, I guess. I knew Richard had seen something. I thought he had seen something similar to the document, but now he's saying he saw the first 2 pages of the document. So when Richard saw, because that's what Jimmy Church's question was, Richard, have you ever seen anything that sort of like you went, oh my goodness, and just blew you away? And that's when Richard said, well, yeah, I kind of saw a document one time, and it sort of like took my breath away. It was like the same thing with me. When I saw it, I went, oh, it's like checkmate. It's over. I couldn't believe what I was reading. It was like, oh, this is it. I mean, and Richard, I had a conversation with Richard, I think it was on Friday, and I agree with Richard. This ain't going away. This story is not going away. This is the ultimate document, because Richard saw it, and he's saying somebody else saw this document, and Hal Puthoff and Eric Davis are not denying the document, and Kit Green did not deny the alien autopsy document. So it's basically sitting there and trying to wait for what they call intelligence blowback to see how many of them, because you got to realize Hal Puthoff and Kit Green have perhaps the longest held top secret SAI clearances in the country. They had them since the early 1970s. They've had these super top secret clearances, and now it's sort of like, well, why were you talking to Bob Bigelow? Why did you put this stuff? Why didn't you go get the documents back? And there's all these questions about these guys having this stuff. So I think what they're doing now is they're not going to comment. They're going to wait to see if this thing blows over. I don't think it's going to blow over. I think this thing just keeps rolling along, especially when I start telling the story of what actually happened. And Richard tells the story about the fact that he had seen the document before. And Richard's not an ordinary guy. He's a guy who's had a lot of contacts with these people. And it's a significant fact when the fact that I produced the same document that Richard saw in 2006. And Richard says another major researcher saw the document as well.
Grant, there's a lot of people talking about these alien autopsy video that to many has been debunked. Are you saying because that document they believed that it was real, that Hal Puthoff believed that it was real, that there is still some speculation as to whether that video is real or not?
Well, the way Richard and I look at it, and there's a second witness. I mean, nobody talks about Maloney, who was a top photographer in the United Kingdom, who tells the story very clearly. In the 1970s, he was at the Disney Corporation, and one of the top animators for Disney showed him a video, and his name always is Kimball, I think, was the animator who dealt with Bob Emenegger and was very much into UFOs, said that Disney had done a UFO documentary. And Maloney tells a story about seeing a video in the 1970s. And he said it was the same video, except in his, there was a second being that was on the floor, curled up on the, sort of hunched up on the floor, that was still alive. And Maloney, when you hear him tell the story, you say, this is for real. So the whole alien autopsy thing in the 1990s may just have been some what I call the slow disclosure thing. What you do is you put out two stories at the same time. So what you do is you say, Lou Elizondo retired on October the 4th. Then the Pentagon comes out and says, no, he retired on the 10th. You say it's advanced aviation. And then then you tell the Politico and Washington Post, no, it's advanced aviation. You have all these two different terms. You put two different stories at the same time. The UFO community all fights. They accuse each other of hoaxing, of making stuff up. And what you do is you just muddy the water. So that's what I think the alien autopsy documentary was. It was to release the story and then to allow the story to fall apart and for everybody to say it's a hoax and get the story out. It's that slow disclosure that I've written about since 1991. They've done it over and over again. And all they're doing with the Tom DeLonge, with the To the Stars, and all the stuff they're doing now is they're doing it with steroids. And the difference is that the Tom DeLonge version is being done in Hollywood, so it's fictionalized. It's like there's people's names aren't used. This is the non-fiction version. It's just you get the document, you drop the document, you don't pull the names out of it, you don't make money in Hollywood with it, you just drop it. And that's what's happening here. You're seeing real documents. And I've said all along, all the other documents are altered documents. This, when I saw it, I firmly believe these two documents are absolutely legitimate, or the three documents, the one that was dropped today. These are legitimate documents that tell you the nonfiction version of what actually happened.
Grant Cameron, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio, even though it was under protest. I appreciate the fact that you were the first ones to get you on and get you talking about this. We're going to let you go. Relax. You don't need to deal with this anymore, my friend. But we will talk soon, and we will see you at the Alien Cosmic Expo in September. Coming up, we have Ryan Stacey from the Experiencers Support Association. We're going to learn what this is all about right after this break.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Wilton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com. Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
The
Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you along with us. Tomorrow night on the show, we got Dr. Jeff Meldrum to talk some Sasquatch for the first bit. Robert Kennedy, Bigfoot researcher, will come on for the second part, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. In New Orleans, UPRN 107.7 FM. In Noonan, Georgia, WQEE 99.1 FM. And in Dangerfield, Texas, KDNF AM 1560. On the digital side, we're proud to be represented by Revolution Radio. Good to have you with us. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Alabandical. Alabandical is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Currently still under construction, but we still got a lot of good stuff on there. Check out all the SOR news wire reports. You can listen to the show there as well. More is coming soon, courtesy of the Gavinator. In the second hour here, we have Ryan Stacey with us. He is a former member of MUFON and MUFON Canada. He is also someone who has left MUFON to take on a brand new project called the Experiencer Support Association, called TESSA. This is dealing with people who cannot have any idea about what's going on, and he's out there to help solve it. He is setting up groups currently around Canada and the United States. TESSA can be found at TESSA, or I believe it's, what's the website, Ryan? I wrote it down wrong. I do apologize, my friend.
Yeah, no worries. It's www.tessacan.org.
Tessacan.org. That's it. See, I forgot the can. Ryan, welcome back. It's been a while since you've been on the show, but we're glad to have you here.
It has been a very long time. Thank you.
Well, I got to tell you, I want to say thank you to you right off the bat, because up until a few hours ago, we did not know that Grant Cameron was going to be coming on this show. He hit me up on an email and said, we got to do this. Let's do this. And, you know, you were gracious enough to allow us to get Grant Cameron on for the first hour. So thank you so much for doing that and sitting through that and listening to it. Listening to all of what Grant said, and I know that you come from an investigator's perspective, this disclosure thing that we're getting closer to, man, what do you think happens to the experiencer when we get it going?
Well, see, that's the big thing. So throughout all of this, my biggest question has always been, what happens next? Because, we all know disclosure is coming. And you know, like, what is going to happen next? And for the longest time, I've been trying to figure out what's going to do. So we do have a group like ourselves who are pushing and just can't wait to get that confirmation. But then I started thinking that there's also a group of individuals who might be terrified about the idea that there are aliens among us. And with today's society and acceptance, it's going to be it's not going to be easy to have people to come out and talk about it. So with TESSA, the idea here is to create this at the same time that disclosure is being pushed, so that way we can hopefully have an academic resource center for those who realize they've actually been taken, they've actually been experienced, and they need someone to talk to.
Now, see, that's one of the things we brought up on this show, is that out of this whole disclosure process where people are talking about science and the government getting involved and the government telling us what we know, what we want to know, and they haven't. And, even President Trump coming out the other day saying, I know I've been briefed on it. I don't believe in UFOs or anything, but he has to say that. Yeah, all the messages seem to be getting closer and closer to that big day. But like I stated in a blog a couple of weeks ago, the ones we're forgetting about is the experiencers, those who've been traumatized, whether it's an ET experience, a close encounter with a UFO, Bigfoot, paranormal activity, and they don't know where to turn. So why create TESSA? Why take on the giant task of creating the Experiencer Support Association?
Well, that is a loaded question. So Jesus, we have to start from the beginning, I guess. So with MUFON, so I've been with MUFON for 5 years. Went up the ranks from just a regular field investigator, then I became a chief investigator of Ontario, then eventually provincial director, all the way up to the national chief investigator for the country of Canada, and I was even the director of training for MUFON national for the entire organization for a little while. So I've gone up the ranks. I've met and networked and talked to all the different bodies involved, and along the way, I realized that there's absolutely no support. Well, I shouldn't say there's no support. There's not enough support for the experiencers. The protocols within MUFON have always been just to take the information and log it and archive it, and then save it for distribution later on. A lot of the times there are, when you respond to an experiencer, is what we're calling them, there's not much, there hasn't been really much to offer them. So I started thinking of ways that we could support them. And so I partnered up with Leslie Mitchell-Clark. I met her through MUFON. So she's a regression hypnotherapist. And I utilized her skills at that time to assist in regression. So that way I can get more further information on some of these experiences. To help validate the information, because I was skeptical. I'm still on the skeptic side, but I'm more of a believer now than I was when we first spoke. And then it became something more. And we realized that if it wasn't for the people reporting, MUFON wouldn't be able to do what it is that they do. And I felt at some point along my career with MUFON that something more needed to be done in order to validate or confirm or even congratulate or I don't know what the proper word is shake the hands for the courage that the experiencers are having for actually saying something, instead of, taking the information and thank you, have a good day, and then blah, 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 So that is the idea. Now, how it came about. Well, when I was upstairs working for National, that's figuratively, not literally, I was in charge of the training aspect. So I was required to read the book and know the book and teach other field investigators. Well, I had a couple of ideas of how to make the system easier, a couple ideas on how to fix the CMS, so that way the information would be easier for the user as well as for the witness. And there's a whole bunch of different types of ideas that I had. But I was also an advocate for pushing paranormal to be involved to the table. So that's another thing, too, is MUFON disregards any paranormal cases. So for a while as well here in Canada, the paranormal cases have been sent to me anyways, instead of just ignoring them like they always have. And so I started getting overwhelmed, and I decided to create, if we can create a system where paranormal could also be included, then I would be able to separate the paranormal from MUFON, because they didn't share an interest in it. They still don't share an interest in paranormal, and they have reasons because they're a UFO organization. But I didn't have it in my right mind to ignore it, so I was always taking on these paranormal experiencer cases. And within that, I started seeing trends and collaborations between alien abductions and paranormal accounts, and I was an advocate on that within the high end, trying to amalgamate the two together, and that never happened. So while I was as national trainer, these ideas that I had were turned down and rejected by Chase Klutsky and what's the other guy, Steve Hutchins. And they said that these ideas would never work. These ideas, we can't accept paranormal. We can't do that. And one of the ideas I had as well was to separate the CMS into categories and to label these things to be an easier thing. So essentially, what I did is I was trying to fix MUFON, or not fix, trying to enhance MUFON's system. Now, when that idea got rejected, my work that I had been working on got deleted and reset because they saw that I was moving in a different direction and that MUFON really didn't want to change. So after that happened, I stepped down, I resigned, and I went back to Canada as a national chief investigator. Not too many weeks after that, maybe even a few days after, I see an update on the CMS, and it was one of my ideas. So, of course, I was pretty pissed off about that, but, it must have been a good idea. But the same good idea that was told wasn't going to work. So what they did is they took my idea and they molded it and they used it, which is great because, it was a good idea to help everyone. But I had a lot of ideas on the table that I was concerned about. So what I did is I created TESSA. Well, it wasn't TESSA at the time. I just created a platform with all my ideas out on paper because I was worried that all of my ideas were going to be stolen from me, and MUFON was going to, MUFON HQ was going to take the credit for it, or more particularly Chase. So then it just sat there, and I continued working with MUFON. And then I was thinking, okay, well, you know what? As a case comes in that was paranormal, then I started referring. Well, why don't you come over to TESSA, and I'll help you with that. So, and if it was a UFO case, then I continued to investigate UFOs through MUFON. So I was following the rules, and because MUFON swore up and down, and I even tried everything in my power to allow paranormal accounts to be investigated, and they refused. So based on that understanding, is paranormal didn't belong in MUFON. But again, the people who are being marketed to, the people who are buying into the brand, don't see that. They need to report to something, and they need to report to someone. And so they report to MUFON because MUFON is the only thing that exists currently. So being a part of MUFON Canada, I started to see, paranormal reports. And again, as they were filtered and sent to me, I then started filtering them towards TESSA. So actually leaving the body of MUFON altogether. Now, of course, some of those cases some of the paranormal cases end up turning into UFO cases, which you didn't know at the time. I started digging into them, and then just like some MUFON cases, some of them start out as UFOs and turn out to be paranormal cases, blah, 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 blah. But it was perfectly okay for Mark St. Germain, who is the current national director, for a UFO case to turn into a paranormal case. But it was unacceptable for a paranormal case to turn into a UFO case. So, at some point down the line, TESSA was seen as a threat, and I can understand that. But really, all I was trying to do was find an alternate place to put the information so the experiencers could be validated, because the original protocol is to ignore the email or reach out and say, thank you, but we don't do this. And as a director of a higher level, I was in charge and I received most of those emails. I couldn't do that. So TESSA happened by accident, I guess. And then while fighting to stay on board with MUFON, while trying really hard to keep the games played on both sides of the fence without crossing, which I could manage, I guess I got frustrated, with the new marketing plan that had come through with the new MUFON's director, Mark, there. I guess we can dive into that later if you want to. But it became more focused around funds, and again, lost interest within the data, and then again, very, very minimal attention was focused on the experiencer themselves. So, a big sour taste and all this other stuff. But basically, Mark's been trying to force me out since February. And because there are bylaws within the book, he was unable to do that because I wasn't doing anything legally wrong. And it became a personal vendetta. And then eventually he used the only bylaw that existed within the MUFON manual, and that was that any national director can remove anybody for any reason without explanation. And that's what he did. He used it. And because of that, because of that, and I'm not by no choice of my own, TESSA now investigates UFOs, which means TESSA will investigate absolutely everything and anything above the realm, beyond the realms of normal. So by definition, paranormal just simply means not normal, which actually includes UFOs and aliens. So by definition, MUFON is a paranormal reporting agency, even though they're not branding like that. So there's a bunch of irony here, but I guess the long haul is I put up with their stuff. Pardon me for swearing. I put up with their stuff for a long time, but it was a lot harder to stay in the organization. And I believe by staying in the organization, I was able to change it. And obviously, I was unable to complete my task. But here I am, and moving forward in something new at the most opportune time, because disclosure is happening and we need a resource for those who get that wake-up call and realize that bad dream that they had actually was real, and they're going to need a support group.
Leaving MUFON, as we got about 4.5 minutes left before we go to break here.
Okay.
Was that a tough decision for you? Because I know when I first started talking to you, you were so pro-MUFON. You didn't see anything else. You were blinded by the MUFON light, wrapped up like a deuce in the middle of the night, man.
Blinded by the light. Nice reference. I believe in what MUFON was. I do not believe in what MUFON is. Project Blue Book is a prime example of what MUFON was created off of. Like and when you see the series there, the way that was displayed, that is how MUFON was. That is not how MUFON is. And my mission was always to show the focus on the data, to kind of bring that back. I did not have a choice on leaving MUFON. I woke up, went to check my emails, found out that my emails, I was blocked out of my emails. I was removed from the Facebook page, blocked, deleted. I was removed from the Alien Cosmic Expo as the advisory as well. I'm no longer speaking. That I found out the following day, but that wasn't at the same time. But, and then an email was sent out with an explanation that I never received. And then they gave my position to somebody else who was absent for the entire time. So I didn't have a choice.
Right.
I was never. Yeah, go ahead.
Ryan, a lot of people who will listen to this, and I do have to play devil's advocate here for a minute, will say that maybe you're bitter because you didn't get your way in MUFON, and they're saying, well, if you weren't playing by their MUFON rules, that you were going to be outed anyways, and you were on your way out, and maybe that was a personal choice that maybe deep down you wanted to make.
Well, you know what? I'm not bitter about it. I'm not sad about it, and I'm not angry about it. I'm happy about it. What I'm sad about is the inability to change. The drive, the focus was on money, It still is on money. The focus is on membership. The focus is on not so much on the data as it used to be. That's what I'm upset about. I can understand that. I worked really hard for 5 years. So, and to have all that taken away in an instant without a proper send off, it's kind of a slap in the face, but it's okay. Right. As far as protocols went, they never follow their own protocols. So, I mean, they broke rules too. And of course they're not gonna come public and talk about that too. So, I mean, did I get my own way? What was my own way? My own way was trying to make MUFON. I was just trying to appreciate try to give more appreciation to the experiencers. And I was doing that while working with MUFON. What I've realized is that I still want to do that. I'm still able to do that. I just no longer need MUFON to do that. And did I get my own way? I didn't leave. I didn't quit. I wanted to continue doing both for as long as I could handle it. Again, the decision was made by them because they believed it was a conflict of interest. Even though I can see that, but I don't understand how it's a conflict of interest when we don't charge any money. We don't have any membership. We don't have a field investigator manual, and they don't accept paranormal reports. And while I was with MUFON, I made it clear that I would not take any UFO reports while working with MUFON. So,
right. Just leave it right there, yeah. Ryan, because we're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Ryan Stacey from the Experiencer Support Association, TESSA. We're going to get into it a little bit more with MUFON, why he left, and TESSA. What it's all about right after this on Spaced Out Radio. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Big shout out to Gene in D.C. Gene in D.C., thank you for listening in. Give us a call sometime, will you? We got to talk. And another shout out to a brand new listener, Carrie Lynn. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Really, really appreciate that. Want to remind all of you that you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can check out our brand new website, spacedoutradio.com. Still lots of work to be done by the Gavinator, but it's up and running. Great place to get your news. Now, Ryan Stacey is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He is with the Experiencers Support Association. Ryan recently left MUFON to go and start his own group because he wanted to get more involved with experiencers, those who have had major experiences, not only with UFOs and maybe ET contact, but with creatures like Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, poltergeists, demons, whatever it was. Just some place where everybody could gather together and share their experiences. Ryan, there's not a lot of recording centers for absolutely everything. Why take on such a big task right off the bat and not just focus on one genre or the other?
Well, it is a huge undertaking. I agree with that. But I am a private investigator, and when you investigate anything, you need to understand both sides. And unfortunately, in this realm, there are many sides. There are many correlating data. There's, with Bigfoot, there are some theories out there that Bigfoot came from UFOs, came from space, right? So, there's a correlation right there, even though it's not talked about. What one person might call an apparition, which is a ghost, another person might call it a hologram. So there's technology, right? So I guess just my way of thinking, I strongly believe that the phenomenon is all connected. Or if not, one was before the other, like the chicken and the egg, or one is a direct result of the other. So in order to get down to the bottom of what's actually happening, you need to get to the root of it. We can dive into ufology, and we can dive into ETs. But I think if we also dive into ghosts and cryptids and even weather phenomenon, the theories and all that stuff, and examine them together, we're going to have more data. I have noticed within my career with MUFON and that if I mention the word paranormal, everyone loses their mind. But if I go to a paranormal event and I mention UFOs, they open me with welcome arms. And I have joy in bringing everyone together. I find that MUFON can do a lot of good work. They have done a lot of good work. There are a lot of good investigators. My problem with MUFON has been with the way that the business is run. I do not have any issues with any volunteer who dedicates themselves and provides a service for ufology. And that is a huge undertaking for anybody. I did leave a team behind, which I am saddened about, but we're all staying in touch and they're all continuing to pursue, and I support them 100%. It's not a TESSA versus MUFON. It's just simply there's UFOs and then there's everything else. And the study that I'm focusing on is not just the experiencers. I'm more so interested in why certain people are affected and why certain people are not. I myself have investigated, and I've almost got to 1,000 cases with MUFON before they cut me loose. That was a milestone I was working towards, but totally lost my train of thought there. Damn it.
Ryan, let me interrupt there, because you made a comment late in the first half hour about MUFON being about money, and that's something that you didn't really enjoy being a part of. And there's always been accusations about cases being compromised or sold. We know this happened during the Bigelow era. There is some question and rumor that it is currently happening with the To the Stars Academy. Did any of your cases that you know of ever get compromised? And if so, how?
Define compromised.
Information sold, information traded, information that was pulled from your hands and say, let's just not worry about this one, Ryan. But then you find out the Star team is looking into it or something along those lines.
Okay. So I can't say that my information personally has been compromised. What I can say is that I am aware that when the reports come in, they go through a filtering system before they land on my desk here in Canada. And how I come to know that is by having an experiencer file a report on the phone with me. And then I'm waiting for it to pop into the CMS, and then I don't see it for a week or two weeks later. So that's happened a few times. But then I talked to the witness, and then the witness has also told me that, hey, there's been some stuff removed. Now, and some things have been changed. So the reasons behind that, I have no idea. I just know that there are people who look at these before they distribute them to the state directors. So that could be considered a compromise. But again, that could be there are lots of times where they'll go through and they'll redact personal information, because some people will put personal stuff in a public field box that they want to hide and protect for the protection of the witness. There's things like that too. But on two particular cases, the wording was different, because she copied and pasted what she had made a report, because I didn't get the report right away, and then I realized that it was a couple words were added. The story wasn't changed too much, but I mean, like, it just wasn't identical, which is strange. As soon as I left, as soon as I was let go from MUFON per se, the next MUFON newsletter was released, and one of my cases that I had worked hard on was published, but it was published under another field investigator's name, and he brought that to my attention, and then he brought that to Mark's attention and said, hey, that's not right, blah, 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 blah. So, that's as close to compromise as I can say, but that's just bad. That's just people pissed off with me, right? Doing silly human things. That's pretty well all I can say.
Yeah. This leads to Tripp's question then. With your new group, TESSA, the Experiencers Support Association, how can people like Tripp and other people in the audience trust that you're not going to be sending out reports to people about their personal information, their lives or experiences, to some sort of group like Bigelow or maybe Pandolfi or some other organization that may come looking for them?
And you know what, the honest answer, and I'm sure everyone would just say, you have to trust me. And you know what, that's not enough, right? I mean, I could tell you that it's not going to happen, but people are still going to think it's going to happen. And we have to be aware that people do that. Now, obviously, I'm telling you that TESSA will not do that. And I swear by that, and I'm going on record that that's not going to happen. And if it ever does happen, which I will never happen, but I'm just saying, unlike other people you've tried to interview, I'm always available to be cross-examined. I'm always available to hop on air if someone's ever got a problem or has some questions. I'll never hide. I will face it if there's ever something you don't understand. Now, maybe I can just explain the way that TESSA is run. So if you go to TESSACan.org and you select a tab called the reporting system, the reporting system that I created will basically ask you all the important questions. You will be given the option to release the information or to hold it private. You'll be given the option to request your own report, so you have a copy of it. So that way, if it does get duplicate, you have a copy of it. So that way, you can actually prove that this is my report. That is something that MUFON doesn't do. You will have a completed investigative report with my personal stamp on it. You will have pretty well anything you want. But the questions that will be asked is, are you okay with us sharing this information with the public? Are you okay with me entering the data into a database, such as for statistical reasons, because I am collecting data to measure the trends. I'm particularly interested not just in the categories, but the locations, because I want to figure out hotspots, and I want to travel to these hotspots and get more experiences. So you'll be asked all these questions, and before you actually fill out a report, you're going to be told basically what's going to happen with the report. If you're not satisfied with those questions, you do not have to file a report. But once you get through those questions and you're fully aware of what's going to happen, and you're comfortable, then everything's good, because it's at the end of it, there's no hidden lines of text. There's no reading between the lines. It's almost like a contract, in the sense of you're fully aware and you've given this information for the benefit of research. So if you don't want to report, you don't have to report if you're concerned. What I am doing with the information, what TESSA is doing with the information, again, is creating. I'm creating statistics. I want to measure this on a global scale, so I can understand trends, and so I can also study the different supports that are used for experiencers, such as regression hypnotherapy, such as remote viewing, such as Reiki healing. I also want to measure the effect of those pseudoscience type professions against an experiencer and their trauma, and see if those certain fields actually help reduce the amount of post-traumatic stressor inside experiencers. So all that stuff will get communicated to you. I am the only investigator at the moment. I believe that it's best that the information stays with me at this level of the game, because it's a lot easier for you to trust one person than it is for you to trust the entire organization. Because MUFON, has a bunch of national directors, but they have a bunch of field investigators that nobody's ever heard about. And it puts a lot of responsibility on me, because I'm also a private investigator. So if I were to fraudulently do any of those things deliberately, I would lose my business, because I am a licensed investigator and I have my own firm. So I will lose absolutely everything. So I wouldn't risk it. But even saying that, there's still some people that won't, they might not trust it. And that's okay. What I want you to do, though, is tell somebody. The idea here is you don't have to report to TESSA. You could report to MUFON if you trust MUFON. You could report to NIDS if you trust NIDS. You could report to anyone. The idea here is that you do not keep it inside, because we need to know what's happening so we can study it. And, I am not a government agency. I do not I'm a civilian. I have a specific study in mind, and that is to study the people to understand what the hell is actually going on and why certain people are affected, and how we can assist them in better understanding. Because what's going to happen when disclosure happens is some people are going to lose their minds and they're not going to have anyone to turn to. And the goal here is to provide support and professional therapy once we get a licensed therapist on board, which we're working towards. And we're taking a complete academic approach to this. Another thing, too, is all our support team one of the criteria that I have to be on the support team is to have a job, like a academic job within the field that you that you claim you're doing. So, which means they also have credibility and they also have liability. So they too are going to do whatever it takes to secure the client, to secure the customer, to the experiencer. Pardon me, I'm a business guy too. But the idea here is us, we're exposing ourselves and laying everything on the line, just like Dolan has with the recent reports. We got nothing to lose because we need you to trust us. If you don't trust us, that's okay, but we want you to trust us. So ask those questions. That's the best way to do it. Because MUFON's protocol has always been to not say anything. That's why Mark chose that bylaw to not say anything. It's within his power to do so. But then, then you can speculate. Everything I'm saying is one side. If you can get him on the horn to get his side, I would encourage that too. It's his right. But it's not. Is it necessary? No, right? Because I'm moving forward. I'm studying. So I should say but we, TESSA collectively, we are in the market to help people, and at the same time, I'm taking an investigative approach to make sure that I guess I offer the correct support for the right situation, if that makes any sense, because a lot of this stuff is meshed together, but if I separate it and measure it individually, then I think we can really narrow down some of these phenomena, and we could debunk some. We could have a better understanding if we have more proper characteristics to measure, and we can learn a lot.
Right. I also want to disclose to our audience, too, that for a while we had the SOR Sightlines report. And because I know you, I know you're independent, I know your career as a private investigator, and there's a lot of laws that go along with that licensing. I want to disclose to our audience, when we restart the SOR Sightlines report on our new website, spacedoutradio.com, we will be teaming up with TESSA, because I like the fact that you're independent. I like the fact you're not in it for the money. I like the fact that you're there to care for people, and you have a lot more ingrained into it than looking to sell good information or good experiences to the highest bidder.
That's awesome. And I am looking forward to that. Now, I can disclose, and I can remove this. It's only been there. We do have we do have a contribute to TESSA button, and the idea that's wording is important. We're using the term donate, which is MUFON's philosophy. It's basically saying we need money to do what we're doing. So please, if you like what we're doing, continue doing what we're doing. With TESSA, the contribute button basically is suggesting that we're doing this no matter what. But if you so wish to contribute, here's an option. We do have an overhead, we do have expenses, but we don't need it, right? We are working towards some bonus content to kind of generate some, I don't want to say revenue, but generate some fan-based stuff to give better feedback and better content. Because, I'm very limited with my reach right now, but I would like to get some good videos out there to send the message out. We are using YouTube as a platform. That's free. We have a free newsletter. We don't charge for membership for that. We are starting our TESSA detachments, which are the equivalent of MUFON's chapter meetings, which you're required to pay the $25 membership fee for MUFON, and then volunteer yourself and collect money and give it to MUFON to never distribute to their field investigators. Whereas with TESSA, right off the bat, I give you a free T-shirt and a certificate to say thank you for stepping up and being a part of the cause. right off the bat, I'm giving you something for doing something. And we also are going to have what's called report, I guess what I'm going to call them, report point system, I guess, RPS or something like that. But basically every report that you collect will give you points within your detachment, which you can turn into a virtual currency to purchase merchandise later on if you so choose to. But we're not going to push it. It's all there. It's all available. It's all choice. The idea here is we're trying to give more back to the people because I know that the position that I am in today is because the people are reporting. And I am forever grateful for having the opportunity to meet people like Richard Dolan and Linda Moulton Howe and Stephen Greer. Like, if it wasn't for people speaking up and telling their stories, we wouldn't be able to do this. And that's why I'm doing the pay it forward philosophy. Another thing too is, I guess with the reporting system, the idea is to collect information so that we can study. I'm working on doing some detachment of the month things, so there's going to be a whole bunch of morale boosting. But the idea here is, I want everyone to feel appreciated, and where that comes from is just the lack thereof that I saw within MUFON, and it's just one of the things that I think is needed, and I think it's very important, and I do think the experiencers are underappreciated because, again, MUFON wouldn't exist if you guys didn't say anything. I wouldn't exist, TESSA wouldn't exist if we...
Ryan, I'm going to cut you off right there. We're going to go to break here. Hour 2, wrapping up with Ryan Stacey. We got Ryan for one more hour here on Spaced Out Radio, so stay tuned.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to all of you around the world, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I invite you to stick around spacedoutradio.com for Saturday and Sunday nights where I host Spaced Out Weekend. Let me take you on a wild ride of weird and strange topics from ghosts and ETs to remote viewing, psychic phenomena, and so much more. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time on Spaced Out Weekend, where we own the night.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
All right. Well, that was interesting. Very interesting. So what happened there is during the break, my USB holder that my mouse is plugged into and my keyboard is plugged into went completely dead. Completely dead. Would not work. So here I am scrambling to get my mouse going, and I'm like, damn it, it's not working. So I'm messaging with Chuck, our tech guy. I'm like, dude, something's going on. Like, I have no mic or mouse cursor. Couldn't get my microphone on. But we're good now. Everything seems to be working. The keyboard is working. The mouse is now working. Ryan Stacey from the Experiencer Support Association. Ryan, I apologize for that little bit of a technical snafu there. I've never really had that happen before.
It's okay.
So sorry about that.
Well, the ones listening in didn't want us to continue our conversation.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. So anyways, Ryan, getting back to our conversation that we were having at the top of the hour, where Spaced Out Radio is going to have TESSA provide the SOR and look into SOR sightlines reports, and we get that back up. And the one thing that I mentioned, the reason why we're doing that is because you are independent. That information that you are taking, I'm getting questions from the audience here wondering how are you going to be able to keep that entire information private? What are you doing with that information if you're not sharing it?
Okay. Well, I will be sharing it with the selected reports that have given me consent. So if you go to TESSACAN.org and select the reporting system, and actually, the first two questions basically are about consent and all that other stuff. I hate, it's the best thing to do is to compare to MUFON, but I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm saying one is different than the other, and then and there's reasons for that. These are, again, my way of doing things, and I'll quote unquote someone who has told me, Ryan's way, is just an easier way and a safer way, but it doesn't mean it's the best way for everybody. Having said that, with MUFON CMS system, what it does is you input the data goes into a large database that is stored online and it stayed there forever. They have hardware, they have access which can be downloaded at any time if anyone had access to. It could be copied. Any single field investigator who has access to the CMS could copy every single report, any single report in there at any given time if they chose to. So, MUFON's got a lot of people that they can't manage with access to all this information. That is an issue as it is. It's also stored online. And so with the reporting system that I have, it's just a simple form that shoots out an email. I get the email, I print the email off, I make a PDF file, I store that on a hard drive, and I print off the hard copy and I put it in a book. And then it doesn't stay on the server, doesn't stay on the hardwire. At the end of each shift or the end of each day, I take the hard drive away from the computer. I put it with the book and in an undisclosed location for the those who are listening, and when I lock it in the safe, and then when I come back, I put it back in and I do it. So that's just basically the way I handle that information, because that's how it's important to me. You can't get it online. I am storing it digitally, but I'm storing it on a secured hard drive, I guess. The other thing too is I am weary about having other investigators having access to that information. So I'm working on a filtering process. So in the sense that when a case comes in, I'll do my due diligence. I'll make the report. I'll do the background. I'll validate whatever I can, and I'll raise a few questions. Ask the witness for more information, and then I'll have a series of things that need to be researched. I'll send those questions off to some people who are interested in researching for TESSA, which haven't been decided yet. And they're just going to do a general research on the topic. They'll report back to me with the information they found, and then I'll add it to the report because I'm well aware of the situation. So that also helps me control the data, and it also helps me secure the data for the benefit of everybody. Is it a perfect system? No, but it's a lot better than storing everyone's personal information online for everyone. Does it require a lot more work? Yes, it does. But again, no matter how much, the amount of extra work is needed in order to protect the safety of the information. As Grant Cameron had mentioned, when he dies, he's going to give his information to people. Like what he's telling you is that he's doing his own research and he's keeping it for his own studies, and that's essentially what we're doing as well. The stuff that we are going to share, again, with consent, is the idea here is to maybe attract others who may have experienced the same, to encourage them to report as well. Maybe there are some images that have been drawn that we have never seen before. So we might use the audience to reach out and say, hey, have you seen this before? Those kinds of things. Every experiencer is going to get their full report copied and sent to them, and then if they choose to distribute it, that's on them. I do have a section here on the data side where cases are offered, could be available for purchase for the benefit of other people's research. Again, redacting and protecting the information. Now, I've considered taking that off just because I don't think many people will trust that right now. But the idea is that our research, I want to make our research available to other outlets such as MUFON. MUFON could take our UFO survey and help them in their mission. The list of paranormal accounts could help Grant Cameron. I'd love to get on an interview with him and talk paranormal with him. Up until today, I thought he was a paranormal guy. Jeez, was I wrong? I guess there's different ways, but the end of the day, it's through consent. You know who I am. You know what we're doing. We subscribe everyone to the newsletter. So if we happen to use your content without your consent, you'll see it. You'll know it. And I expect you to comment and message and say, hey, I didn't give you permission for that. And then, so it's an honor system, I guess, right? So,
but Ryan, how do you keep that information? Because a lot of people do not trust MUFON for one reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has their own. I'm not sitting here saying MUFON's good. I'm not sitting here saying MUFON's bad. I'm sitting here saying there's a lot of people out there who may not trust their information with MUFON or other groups if it's shared. So how do you protect that information from people who don't want their information being shared?
Well, in the questionnaire, they'll say they don't want it shared. So I have a separate category and a separate folder for reports that come in that are not for public. And again, they're stored on the hard drive, and the hard drive stays with me. It doesn't go anywhere. It's not given to anyone or anything like that. And I mean, I wish that I could store all this information in my head. Unfortunately, to do the type of work that we're doing, there has to be some sort of an archive somewhere. And again, having a database of anything runs a risk, especially when you have so much information, right? So the idea, is I'm doing the best I can with what I know how to do and preserving it. You're just going to have to trust me, I guess. That's the only logical thing to say at this point, right? I know that's a hard pill to swallow and I understand it and I respect it. But it's either that or the information comes in and then I delete it and then it's gone. But I don't have the time or resources to, to just sit here and listen. I want to do more. I want to study. I want to learn. I want to educate. And I need that information to do that. So I guess the best thing I could say is if those aren't good enough, if the risk is too high of your case, don't report it to anybody. Keep it. Just don't tell your neighbor. Right? Just don't keep it inside. That's the goal here. It's not to carry it, because you'll feel a lot better if you talk about it.
Ryan Stacey from the Experiencer Support Association, brand new group coming on out doing investigations on everything. So if you're an experiencer, they're a great place to go. You can go to TESSAcan.com. That's TESSAcan.org. Pardon me. And Ryan, with that, with the experiences that you are going to be covering, because you're covering all realms, are you looking to prove something through these experiences? Are you going to be gathering a lot of these experiences to be looking for any type of similarities that are running between all of them? Because I think that's something that's very important that not a lot of research groups are doing.
And that's exactly what I'm doing. I am measuring trends between all of the phenomena. Like I said, I believe it's connected, and you know, it's even with religion. Religion has been told and retold many different times over the years, and there's still many different beliefs. But if you were to break down religion, they share characteristics, you know, and within that you can formulate a solid opinion or a unified opinion that, you know, that all religion believes that there's at least something above us in the heavens or space or whatever you want to call it. All religions point to ancient astronauts, depending on how you explain it. And that's the same idea. Is I want to measure everything separately, but then weigh them together. So that's another thing too. If you have a report about, let's say you saw Bigfoot, and then you saw a UFO the next day, or at the same time, some people might report that all into one. The database is set up so that way you would have to make a report about Bigfoot, and then you would have to make a report about the UFO. Both cases will be investigated separately, but then I'll be keeping trends of the experiencer themselves, and I would I guess study the experiencer as well to see. Again, why is this person able to see these things or experiencing these things? So, and are these two things connected? And then how? And then from there becomes geographical trends. Like, are these? I'm hoping that there's going to be hot spots of both paranormal and UFO in the same spot, so then I can prove that bridge. You know, a Bigfoot and an alien seen on the same day. You know, like then we can start looking at, you know, the individual characteristics. Okay, so an entity, we can agree that an entity was spot at this location. You know, it's just interpreted differently. Everything is interpreted differently, but there must be some common ground, and there has to be. And even if, you know, and a lot of this stuff can be debunked too and understood, but I don't think any one party is playing with a full deck of cards. MUFON is part of it, but it's not all of it. Is it Paracan? The Paranormal Institute or whatever that's that collects ghost reports. That's part of it, but it's not all of it, you know. The idea of having the association is to also bring everyone together. MUFON could be part of TESSA if they so chose to be, but right now they don't see us as equals. And one day I'm hoping that will change. But at the same time, what I want to offer is these data sets in an unbiased way, redacted and delivered to give to people like Richard Dolan or Grant Cameron or Victor Vigiani, who are researching specific subjects, and give them a kind of a head start on where to focus next. So like the survey is going to be very intricate. It can be broken down. It can be measured to trends, and then everyone can individually pursue their own ventures. But for me, it's a whole damn thing. It's all connected. We're all connected. Sorry, I rant.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. You took us right to the bottom of the hour here, man. We got about 45 seconds before we got to go to break, and hopefully during the break my mouse doesn't disappear again. But you know, we're making some head waves here, so I appreciate that. TESSAcan.org. Go ahead.
TESSA isn't just me. So I am the founder. I am the creator of it. I'm the idealist. But if we can on the break when we come back. TESSA it is all of us. It's everybody. It's not, I'm just the one with the idea. And I would very much give this mantle up for anybody who's willing to take it. But unfortunately, I'm the only guy who's running with it right now. So,
well, we do have Ryan, we do have lots of audience questions coming up here that I'm going to hit you up with after we come back from break. So make sure you stay tuned. Ryan Stacey is here with us, formerly of MUFON and MUFON Canada. He's left that group, started up his own group called the Experiencer Support Association. If you want to check that on out, his website is TESSAcan.org, TESSAcan.org. Gosh, I can't even talk. I'm so rattled by this microphone and this mouse button tonight. This has just been one battle of a show, man. Just one battle of a show.
But it's good intel.
Coming soon to our website,
well, it is very good info, my friend,
is the SOR Space Travelers
we're going to get things going here. We're going to wrap
$5
things up right after this.
You can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose, Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today. Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. A very interesting night around here. But we got a show going, and that's what we're going to keep on going here. Want to remind all of you that all of our archives are free on our YouTube channel. So all you got to do is go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you coming. The Gavinators working on expanding our site as we speak. Before we bring back on Ryan Stacey from the Experiencer Support Association, TESSA, and their website, tessacan.org, I want to give a shout out to Rich Giordano, good friend of ours around here from Goof On Radio. And for a lot of people who know, when Rich has been on this show, we always hear his dog, Angus, a Jack Russell Terrier. that would be the odd time barking in the background. Well, Angus passed away on Sunday, yesterday, and he was with Rich for 15 years. That was Rich's best friend, his buddy, his pal, his roommate, his everything. And, you know, to talk to Rich on a personal level, you guys hear him on the radio, but to talk to Rich on a personal level, you know, that dog was his best friend. And like many of you out there who have best friends with your adopted pets, whether they're cats, dogs, iguanas, fish, whatever they may be, you know we build that personal bond. But I really believe that Rich had a very, very extremely personal bond with his dog, Angus. And Angus was always barking in the background, and I loved it because he always sounded so happy and healthy. And I know Rich is pretty upset and destroyed about that. So if you're on Twitter, send Rich a little bit of a note of condolence at GUFON Radio. That's GUFON Radio on Twitter. And if you are friends with him on Facebook or just want to message him on Facebook, you know, I think that'd be a really cool thing to do, because Rich is a really solid guy and he loved his dog. And much like I love my 3 dogs, I couldn't imagine losing any of them. So, Rich, we're thinking of you. We're thinking of Angus. And we're very, very sorry on behalf of the entire Spaced Out Radio family that a good friend of yours, Angus, passed away. And God bless to Angus, and hopefully he's having a good time on the other side. So Goof on Radio, make sure you send Rich a quick note if you have that opportunity to do so. Ryan, thank you so much for being with us. We want to get some questions in from our audience because they are piling up. We're going to start with PBR's question here, Ryan. He is asking, what is TESSA's mission statement?
I will tell you. I'm going to read it from the website. Okay, so I'll just read it right from the website. Welcome to the world's first high strangeness UFO paranormal hybrid investigation and research association. TESSA investigates all items belonging to the global phenomenon of highly strange and foreign experiences, which carry many implications of the existence of intelligence other than our own. TESSA provides raw, unbiased data, volunteered and collected from those experiencing this phenomenon, with a global effort in providing trends and characteristics that will help narrow down our research and directly focus where to look. TESSA filters the difference between fact and fiction with every intent to bridge the connection between UFO and paranormal phenomenon. We acknowledge that everything TESSA delivers cannot be done if not for the courage displayed by each and every one of you, and for this we thank you. Welcome home. That is our statement.
All right. Appreciate you getting that out in regards to it, because there's a lot of question now. Trip is asking, is TESSA going to be part of SOR now? Well, what we're doing here, Trip, is we are going to be firing up the SOR Sightlines report that I got rid of a couple of years ago because we had nobody to investigate. So in Ryan and I talking and knowing Ryan on a personal level, we have decided to restart the SOR Sightlines report. Ryan will be passing, or when somebody goes to our website, fills out a form, it will go to TESSA's website, but it is going to be flagged that it is from a Spaced Out Radio. So we're going to treat those ones with extra kid gloves. Ryan and I have talked about that personally, about that I want to make sure that anybody who files their report in through the SOR Sightlines report, that they are not used for any sort of extracurricular activities, because our listeners are putting a lot of faith in us, and we're putting a lot of faith in Ryan Stacey's group, the Experiencers Support Association. And the reason why we are joining up is because we need that. We need a safe place to investigate, and we want to make sure that we're not going to groups that are infiltrated or something along those lines. Right, Ryan?
That's absolutely right. And while you were doing that, I pulled up the reporting system here. There's one part here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Question number 7 says, who referred you? So when you get to that, if you type in Spaced Out Radio or Dave Scott in that, then I'll know that it's within those guidelines. Now, again, we still have the same mission, and everything's going to be consensual. Not all of Dave's and our listeners, which I guess it's our listeners as well now. Not everyone is going to want to keep it secret, right? So, I mean, and we will share, but again, the emphasis is only on those who want it. And the information that's collected too, here's another thing I wanted to mention too. The contact info is only only your first and last name and your date of birth. That's it. And the phone number so we can call you, or an email, whatever you choose. But the street address that we collect is only where the event happened. We don't ask for your personal address unless it happened at your house. But there's a lot, like, I encourage you to fill out a report, and you'll see yourself. You'll understand that I've done everything in my power to make you comfortable, and hopefully educate you on exactly what's going on. And
just so you know, you now officially hold the records for the dump button.
What's the dump button?
When you accidentally use a naughty word, and I got to hit the dump button to kill that audio. So the record is now at 2, held by Ryan Stacey. 2.
I apologize.
This is not a record to be proud of, bud. I'm just teasing. Will is asking in the chat room, how would you deal with something nasty like demonic possession? What would be your game plan?
How would I deal with it as in a support? Well, of course, the everything's situational based. So when the report comes in, I analyze it with the data that's there. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to try and validate the possibility of the claim happening. I'm not going to try and debunk it. I'm going to try and find lore or other testimonies that support the idea of the claim. If I can find that, then there's enough reasonable grounds to believe that it's possible. And then the second half of that is proving the credibility. Once we prove the credibility of the person by certain ways, a lot of that is filtered out through the report because you can't really hold anything back. So you're basically exposing yourself with the proper intent. So, credibility should be determined by that. Then if it's determined that it is aggressive, you also have a choice to select whether it's a positive experience or negative experience, because a lot of people reporting might not see it as something bad, and that also will triage the urgency of the report. So if it's a negative experience, then we're gonna handle that too. And you also could choose to not have the report investigated, which is also an option as well. Anyways, long story short, at the moment I am seeking out a demonologist to be on our support team. I am actually taking a course on that just to educate myself, but I wear many hats. But I haven't had a case like that yet. But if I have a case that comes in, I would do my best to find you proper support to possibly remove that. Now, the problem that we have in these early stages is I'm one guy in one location. The plan, once we have detachments, is to utilize the detachments as boots on the ground. So for an example, if Dave were to create a detachment, or somebody in the area were to create a detachment, and then one of you guys who are local to that detachment happen to make a report, I would utilize the detachment leader and to put boots on the ground and find the resources in the area. So there's a lot of networking in place, but we're not there yet.
All right, let's move on to another question. Trip is asking, how are you going to handle alien abductions?
Alien abductions, depending on, again, negative or positive. Let's assume it's negative. The referral off the bat would be regression hypnotherapy. And because Leslie treats for anxiety and post-traumatic stress as well. And then we also have Wes Roberts. and my wife Priscilla McNamara, they both are on the mentoring side of things. They are experiencers themselves. So I would hook you up with them to have chat about your experiences. It would help kind of understand and rationalize the experiences, and they might be able to relate. They have the bedside manner. I have the investigative mind. Now, depending on the seriousness of the abduction, of course, I would want to collect the data. I would want to research it. I would want pictures. I would want proof, and of course, I would want to share that story. But if the witness doesn't want to share the story, we're not going to share the story. So everything is going to be treated and handled differently depending on the variables that are selected. So it's really hard to give the right, I don't want to say medicine, but as an analogy, a doctor has to know the symptoms before they prescribe the pill to hopefully help. And my goal here is to understand what's going on, measure the trends, and then suggest possible treatment that could help rationalize or deal with or cope with living with these experiences. I'm not an experiencer, so I do not have the ability to say I understand, whereas these people do. And I rely on them. And as I mentioned before, TESSA is a team. TESSA is all of us. And I am looking for more people to add to the support team. If anyone has, if you go to the TESSACAN.org website and you click the support, you'll see what we have for support. If you offer some sort of counseling, some sort of dowsing, or any event that could help assist experiencers, I'd be interested in talking to you. Now, there is one disclaimer for that. You must be Canadian. The reason for that is because I'm well versed in Canadian law. TESSA is Canadian, and it's just a lot easier to stick within Canada for those types of positions. But anyone throughout the world can report. Anyone else throughout the world can get support. I just need them. I need the people that I'm walking into confidentiality agreements to be Canadian, so that way the law, is still within Canadian borders. Because unfortunately, the United States runs their things a little bit differently.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do indeed. Let's continue on. Mr. B. Baker is saying, Dave, I honestly think Ryan's heart is in the right place, but he needs to talk to a lawyer about people's information, privacy, and legal stuff. Have you done this, Ryan?
Yes. I have a lawyer for my business, and it's under the same thing. It's under the same Privacy Act. There's when we get to the stage where we'd like to share it, there will be legal documents that the experiencer would need to sign to give consent. It's all there. It's all part of the process, right? But the idea, again, is situational based. So all the bases are covered. There's on the legal point of things, I'm not concerned about that because I draft legal documents myself, so we're okay there.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you, Ryan. I'm reading a lot of the chat room comments on Twitter, on Facebook, on our Spreaker chat. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people not very impressed with the fact that you said that you would give information to MUFON or other groups.
So the information that would be given, let me clarify, and thank you for bringing that up, is so if you go to TESSACAN.org and you select the data tab, you'll see that this is where I'm compiling the survey. So the survey is the data that will be released to the public. And what that is statisticals, the geographical location, the description of the sighting, and the characteristics of that has nothing to do with the experiencer, has nothing to do with the physical address of the experiencer. It's really hard to explain. It's all the statistical data that you need to measure. That's what would be available to MUFON, not the public and personal information. So perhaps I should have cleared that up at the beginning. I got many things going on right now too, that in my head I know that that's not the situation, but I do understand how it's perceived that way at this moment.
Well, there are a lot of people concerned. I mean, let's face it. When we hear of people's information being sold or stolen, right, especially with, and MUFON, right or wrong, has been accused of a lot of things. And I've talked to people who are in support. I've talked to people on the board of directors, whatever it may be. There is a lot of people out there who have experiences that absolutely will not trust that. And there's other groups as well. It's not just MUFON, it's other groups. And, I think with you, there's a lot of excitement that it's about time something's coming along. But there are people afraid out there that this is going to turn into another MUFON type situation where we have people, not working for the best part of the experiencer, but what's best for them as an organization. And I think that's the concern. And that is a valid concern, and those concerns should be made. And the only response that I can give to that is just keep watching, keep paying attention, keep me honest. Keep asking these questions. Everything is available on the website. Everything is laid out on the website with the intent, and that's also. That's important too, because that's what we have to follow. And if we don't follow that, then you don't trust us, and then we end up in the pile of worms that MUFON is in today. MUFON started as a UFO reporting database, so it was never in their business model to cater to the experiencers. It never was. Our model is always about the experiencers, so that would carry us through for the next 50 years. So I hope, I foresee us never straying from taking care of the experiencers, because that's our mission, right? It's hard to say, with my heart and my passion and my mission right now, I'm telling you that's not the goal. That's not the plan. I just want to research. I want to study. These are ways that can help get the word out. Again, you have the tools to make the report. You have the tools to select anonymous. You have the option to not have your data shared. And if we do think it's significant, we will reach out to you, and that's about as honest as we can be, really. My friend, we only got about 45 seconds left with you tonight. All right. And I want to say a big thank you for coming on. And once again, I apologize for the little technical error at the top of this hour in regards to that. But you were a trooper tonight, because you did allow Grant Cameron to come on for the first hour and share some important UFO information there. Ryan, do me a favor. Tell everybody again how they can find TESSA Can and what they do if they have a report. Okay, so TESSA Can, www.tessacan.org. Select the reporting system tab, and you'll be given instructions on what it's about and how to proceed from there. And then you just basically follow it. And there's also, you can subscribe to the newsletter, which is on there. Right on. We do have a meetup group. We have a whole bunch of things. So everything's linked to the website, tessacan.org. Perfect. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Big thank you to you and to Grant Cameron for joining us earlier. Tomorrow night on the show, Dr. Jeff Meldrum joins us. We're going to talk Sasquatch, along with Robert Kennedy, who will finish off the show. Big Hairy Beast tomorrow night on Spaced Out Radio, 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Make that a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms, on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, wherever you may be. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for telling your friends, doing your part to help us get bigger and better every single night. Because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night.